The Wife is First. Volume 1, Planning Ahead. Chapter 34, Persian Silk Tree. You're hurt this badly and still say it's fine. Jing Xiao's brow furrowed tightly and he reached out to pinch that white bandage. He wanted to see his brother's wound but was also afraid of hurting him. His fingertips stopped 3 inches away from the bandages, not daring to go further. Jing Chen had never seen his younger brother so cautious and solemn before. It made him unable to maintain his strict expression. The scolding that he had been about to give died on his lips. He somewhat shakily stretched out his hand and rubbed Jing Xiao's head. It really isn't serious. It's just that the wound is long and not easy to wrap, that's why such a large area has to be bandaged up like this. Jing Xiao was stunned. For as long as he remembered, his elder brother had never acted so intimately toward him. When he was young, he would jump all over the place, snatched bird's nest and fished up koi on the pond while his elder brother would always be studying and reading books with a stiff face. The most frequent question that his brother ever asked him was, "What trouble will you get into next time?" When their empress mother died, he wailed bitterly while his elder brother just knelt in front of the coffin and remained quiet. When he pulled on his elder brother's sleeve, he only received the scolding of, "You're such a baby, do you only know how to cry?" As a result, Jing Xiao thought that his brother did not regard him much. Up until he was sent to prison when his elder brother visited him. Jing Xiao still remembered his brother's calm and determined voice as clear as day, "You are my only brother. I won't let you die, even if I have to sacrifice everything I have." As the scenes of the past flashed through his mind, Jing Xiao could feel his nose was stinging. If he hadn't been able to live again, he would never have known how much his brother had done for him since those deeds were done without his knowledge. Rubbing one finger at his nose, Jing Xiao took out a small green jade bottle from his chest and stuffed it into Jing Chen's hand. "The carriage ride is bumpy. Go back and have sister-in-law help you apply this." Jing Chen looked at the small bottle in his hand. His father had bestowed this light green bottle on Jing Xiao before Jing Xiao set off on his expedition. Jing Chen frowned and said, "This is a life-saving medicine. I only have a superficial injury, take it back." With that, he tried to stuff it back into Jing Xiao's hand but the latter quickly retreated to the carriage door. "I still have some at home so just take this bottle. If you don't think it's worth using now, then just keep it on you. It'll make me feel a little more at ease," Jing Xiao said as he raised the curtain and prepared to go out. "I came out to pick you up after going around through the capital. No one knows about this. As for Imperial Father, that old man's heart is like a mirror, it's useless to try and hide it from him." Jing Chen grasped the jade bottle in his hand and watched the tall and strong figure of his younger brother as he mounted his horse, shook the reins gently and disappeared from sight. His lips curved slowly. His Xiao Xiao ear was really getting more and more thoughtful. ******. Even if it was his mother's house, it wasn't appropriate for the prince consort to stay for dinner. Thus, when Jing Xiao went back to his estate, Mu Hanzhong had already returned. The table was full of dishes, and his prince consort was dressed in soft and casual silk clothes as he sat at the table waiting for him to have dinner. It was really nice to have someone waiting for you to come home. Jing Xiao couldn't help but go over and place a kiss on that handsome face. The surrounding maidservants who saw this lowered their heads one by one. Mu Hanzhang's handsome face instantly turned completely red as there were servants all around. This man indeed did not know how to restrain himself. He couldn't help but glare at Jing Xiao and said, "Go and change your clothes, your mouth is full of dirt." He felt that the words weren't proper as soon as he said them as they sounded more like he was flirting, and he couldn't help but feel annoyed inwardly. Jing Xiao pressed his fist to his lips to muffle his laughter as he turned to go to the washroom to wash his face and change his clothes. As it was the end of the 5th month, the weather was starting to turn hot. Jing Xiao changed his clothes, then took the cup which Miao Shi handed him and drank until the cup was empty. Mu Hanzhong ladled out a bowl of mung bean soup for him and waved his hand for the maids to withdraw. Did you see elder brother? Jing Xiao took a sip of the soup and nodded. Brother was injured, so the carriage was traveling a lot slower. Is he badly hurt? Mu Hanjiang frowned. Jing Xiao took a bite of food and felt that it tasted quite good. He picked some up with his chopsticks and placed them in his wife's bowl. It was a superficial injury, so it shouldn't be too severe. Mu Hanjiang looked at the food in his bowl. When he saw Jing Xiao's expectant face, he didn't say anything and only picked up the bowl to eat the food that was put in it. Ever since their marriage, His Highness had served him plenty of times and seemed to be quite happy doing it. This man didn't act as if he were a woman and ordered him about, but instead, he actually respected and cherished him. He truly couldn't imagine how miserable his life would be if Jing Xiao were like other husbands. Adhering to the courtesy of not speaking during meals, Mu Hanjiang no longer said anything and instead concentrated on eating. Jing Xiao had only eaten 2 pieces of stewed beef at lunch, so he was really hungry by this time. He picked up his bowl and also began to eat quickly. Mu Hanjiang was somewhat surprised to see him so ravenous. When Jing Xiao picked up his 3rd bowl of rice, Mu Hanjiang was afraid that he would overeat and could only reach out to stop him. Seeing Jing Xiao show him a face of still wanting to eat more, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he said, "You're eating too fast and won't know when your hunger is actually satiated. If you eat too much at night, you'll get indigestion." They were both men and all the rice bowls in the East Court ward were big. Jing Xiao would normally be very full after eating 2 bowls. If he finished this 3rd bowl, he would indeed end up eating too much and definitely wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Jing Xiao understood this, so he obediently put down his chopsticks and drank half a bowl of mung bean soup. It was only while they waited for the maidservants to clean up that he realized that perhaps he had indeed eaten too much. Mu Hanjiang sighed and after drinking tea, took him for a walk in the garden to help with his digestion. The mid-spring evening breeze brought with it a slight wave of heat. When it brushed past the face, one could smell fiery sunlight amidst the fragrance of flowers. My father said that next month, he'll promote Madame Qi to the secondary consort position. Mu Hanjiang went under a Persian silk tree and looked up. The tree was covered in pink flowers, their beauty was like that of mist. That truly is a good thing. You'll be able to call her mother in the future. When Jing Xiao saw him looking at the flowers on the tree, he stretched out his hand and jumped lightly, grabbing a handful of colorful, blooming flowers which he then presented to his prince consort. The flowers were fine where they bloomed. What did you pick them for? Mu Hanjiang looked at the flowers in his hand and didn't take them. To offer the flower to a beauty, Jing Xiao said proudly. Mu Hanjiang glared at this imperial prince, who was beginning to act indecently again. I heard before that these flowers represents misery, how can they still be used as an offering? Jing Xiao scratched his head. Persian silk flowers were originally called flowers of misery. A blooming flower of misery meant that the husband had had a change of heart. This meaning truly wasn't good. Jing Xiao quickly threw away the flowers in his hand and pulled off a leafy tree branch, stuffing it into Jun Qing's hand. What are you doing now? Forget about offering flowers, who would gift leaves? Mu Hanjiang turned the branch full of green leaves in his hand. The leaves were closed, and not seeing anything particularly worth looking at, he couldn't help but laugh at Jing Xiao. Persian silk leaves open during the day and close at night, which means to be bound by deep love. I'm giving this to you, so as to be united with you for all of my life and maintain a happy union through the ages, Jing Xiao said boldly and confidently. Mu Hanjiang was stunned for a moment. He looked down at the leaves that were tightly closed at night, not expecting Jing Xiao would say something like that. For a moment, Mu Hanjiang didn't know how to respond. However, his handsome face was suddenly tinged with a red flush and shined in the clear moonlight, looking all the more beautiful for it. Jing Xiao went a little stupid when he saw this. He couldn't help but grab his prince consort's hand and search for those thin lips to kiss them. Mu Hanjiang groaned softly but didn't resist. That phrase "united with you for all of my life and maintain a happy union through the ages" made his whole heart swell and also made him want to do something intimate to prolong that feeling. ******. The next day, the second prince returned to court with his injury and stood on the platform in the large hall. Emperor Hongzheng took pity on the second prince as his injury had yet to heal and granted him a seat. The emperor was very angry about the attack on the imperial envoy and ordered a thorough investigation. In addition, Jing Chen also brought news which shocked all levels of society. The tribute from the southwest hadn't been stolen by mountain thieves at all but by the king of the southwest himself. All the tribute had stalled at the border of the southwest feudal region, near the official road leading to the capital city. Whether it was coincidental or deliberate, the southwest king's memorial to the emperor to avoid sending troops to rescue the eldest prince had also arrived in the capital yesterday. In his petition, the southwest king said that the southwest had suffered from a spring drought this year and that in many areas, not a speck of grain had been harvested. In addition to that, the tributes had also just happened to be stolen. Worse still, the southwest king had already lowered expenditure to aid the people and the region truly had no ability to mobilize an army to go to Yunnan Tibet. The king earnestly requested that the court allocate them army provisions first. His deceit is truly intolerable. Emperor Hongzheng took Jing Chen's memorial along with that of the southwest king and threw them down fiercely on the jade steps. The southwest king is really too impudent. Fan Ji, the upright imperial censor, stepped out, trembling with rage. Your Majesty, please quell your anger. The most important thing is that the eldest prince is still in the Yunnan Tibet region. It's uncertain whether he's alive or dead. The southwest king refuses to send troops, so we must quickly mobilize other troops and horses. The Minister of War glanced at Jing Chen, then stepped forward to remind the emperor. The king of the southwest knows that the eldest prince isn't good at fighting battles, which is why he dares to openly and brazenly deceive the court and ask the tribute to be reduced in exchange. In this official's opinion, we should dispatch a famous general to Yunnan Tibet. Song An, the assistant minister of war, hurriedly came forward to speak, looking somewhat pointedly at Jing Shao. Jing Shao hated how Song An was once again acting on his own initiative, to the point that his teeth itched, and he took half a step back unobtrusively. The southern barbarians don't have large numbers, it's not worth making a big fuss over them. The reason why the eldest prince is in a dangerous situation is that he's not familiar with Yunnan Tibet's environment. This subject thinks that as long as the eldest prince is rescued, that will suffice. There's no need to send another famous general. If we waited for some time, this will definitely be resolved. The Marquis of Beiwei, who rarely spoke up, suddenly stepped forward and his steady and powerful voice immediately cut through the endless chatter of the crowd. Emperor Hongzheng looked at Mu Jin and nodded slightly. The Marquis of Beiwei of this generation had been stationed in the northwest as a young man. He had fought many wars and defended his noble title with his own abilities. His words naturally carried prestigious weight. Hence, Emperor Hongzheng decreed that the southwest king need to be reprimanded. He immediately sent troops to rescue the eldest prince. As for reducing the tribute and the matter of providing provisions, he completely denied these requests. At the same time, he dispatched soldiers and horses from Shu province to rescue the eldest prince via another route. Mother, I heard that father is going to promote Qiu Yuniang to the secondary consort position. Mu Lingbao urgently and angrily rushed to Madame Du's courtyard as soon as his punishment of confinement was finally over. I know. The Marquioness of Beiwei had become rather haggard. The emperor had decreed that the fourth prince's consort would be the young lady from Duke of Mao's household. The engagement would be set in the 6th month, and since the 7th month wasn't auspicious, the marriage ceremony was set for the 8th month. Lady Du had now become the laughingstock of the whole capital. She was so ashamed that she hadn't dared to go out for nearly a month at this point. The fourth prince's engagement was set in the 6th month, the same month that the Marquis of Beiwei was going promote Qiu Yuniang, which would send a clear signal for everyone that the Marquis of Beiwei was firmly on the faction of Prince Cheng. Now, they would all have to look up at that illegitimate son. How can that be? Mu Lingbao swept the fruit platter off the table and said, if Qiu Yuniang is promoted to the rank of secondary consort, then Mu Hanzhong will become the second son. If I die, then he can also inherit the title. What nonsense! The Marquioness of Beiwei slapped Mu Lingbao's back. You are the declared heir by an imperial decree and nobody can take that title away. He's already married to Prince Cheng. What basis is there for him to return to his mother's home and inherit the title? If Prince Cheng becomes the emperor and dismisses him, then wouldn't he be able to inherit the rank? After being smacked by his mother, Mu Lingbao plopped down on the Luhan bed and raised his voice. Humph, if Prince Cheng becomes the emperor, do you think he'll live to ascend the throne? The Marquioness of Beiwei sneered. The reign of a prince who had married a male wife wouldn't last. Even if Prince Cheng managed to seize the throne by some extraordinary means, it would be disgraceful to keep a male wife. He would naturally be erased from the history books. Upon hearing this, Mu Lingbao was stunned before finally cheering up. Mother is truly far-sighted. If you were even the slightest bit mature, would it be necessary for me to use these methods? The Marquioness of Beiwei flicked his forehead fiercely with her finger. Lady Qiu, who had come to deliver some accounting ledgers, snapped out of her daze as she stood outside the door. She was so alarmed that she broke out in a cold sweat. End chapter. The Wife is First. Volume 1, Planning Ahead. Chapter 35, A Speculation. Qiu Yuniang looked left and right, then she saw Madame Du's eldest maid Yanhong returning with tea from one end of the corridor. She quickly retreated 2 steps and stood behind one of the corridor pillars, then waited for the maid to reach the door before she stepped out slowly. Has Qiu Yuniang come to deliver the account books? Yanhong saw her and quickly smiled. Qiu Yuniang would be promoted to secondary wife next month. Recently, the people in the estate had become a lot more polite to her. The eldest young master is inside, let me help Lady Qiu bring them in. Thank you for the trouble. Qiu Yuniang smiled, handed her the books and turned to leave. The 2 people inside the room stopped talking when they heard the maid's voice. As she was waiting for the person to come in, Lady Du asked, Yanhong, who was that outside? When this maidservant came to the door, I incidentally came across Qiu Yuniang, who had come to deliver the account books. She let this maid intercept her and went back. Yanhong smiled and put the books on the table. The Madame Du frowned. She had gotten Qiu Yuniang to examine this month's accounts in the side office today. She had ushered out all the maids but had forgotten all about her. Fortunately, Yanhong had come back in time. She had Yanhong go out and guard by the door. Then, Madame Du raised her head and said to Mu Lingbao, you are the eldest in the family and no longer a child, you even know how to go out and fool around. Don't hang around with that pack of rogues and visit low-class brothels all day. If you have nothing to do, practice your martial arts more so that the next time you had a fight with that fellow from the Duke of Mao's household, you won't be humiliated again. It wasn't my fault, that turtle-like coward used dirty trick. When Mu Lingbao was scolded, he immediately refused to accept it and argued back, besides, what are you afraid of? That Mu Hanzhong can't learn martial arts. Even if I just practice casually, I'd still be stronger than him. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Qiu Yuniang returned to her residence feeling distraught. She originally thought that His Highness treated Hanzhong rather well and that his days would be better at the prince's estates than at the marquis's residence, so she herself hadn't asked for much. However, she had completely forgotten about the fight over the imperial throne. Prince Cheng was so brave and good at fighting, everyone in the capital knew that. Would this kind of person be content with remaining an imperial prince all his life? And without any sons from a main wife, his children wouldn't be able to inherit any of the nobility of an imperial prince. Qiu Yuniang had a mind to go find her son and have a proper talk with him, but she was still just a concubine and was not allowed to leave as she pleased. Lady Qiu sighed and summoned her maid, Yan Kui, to send a letter to the Molian establishment. Yuniang, the second young master's shop sells perfumed balm. How can this servant go in there? Yan Kui immediately blushed. Qiu Yuniang glared at the girl for making a fuss and said, I just need you to send it to the front gates of our residence. Give this to the Wang family's third son who drives the cart. You don't have to worry about the rest. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The investigation into the assassination attempt on the second prince in the southwest had not clarified anything. The Department of Justice determined that the assassins were likely commoners of unorthodox origin, such as those so-called Jianghu masters who were desperate for money. However, Jing Chen had been dressed in plain clothes and had gone in disguised with only a few bodyguards at his side knowing his whereabouts. 4 of the bodyguards had been sent by the emperor and 2 were from Prince Cheng. No one in court said it aloud, but they were all suspicious. The assassination attempt on the second prince had to be related to Prince Cheng. At that time, Prince Cheng insisted on providing you with 2 additional guards. Thinking about it now, that was truly suspicious. A guest at the second prince's residence, Master Chen, said sincerely. The injured Jing Chen was at home and sitting by his desk. He frowned upon hearing those words and replied, You can't say this, Jing Xiao would never harm me. Your Highness. In the imperial household, the strength of familial ties are as thin as paper. Even your own brothers cannot be trusted. Prince Cheng has great military achievements but he's married to a male wife, his heart definitely wouldn't be content. This official has heard that he dotes on his prince consort very much in front of everyone but that is inconceivable. One has to ask, if your highness had all the qualifications to take the throne, would you be content to remain an imperial prince? Master Chen wouldn't let the subject be brushed off so easily. Enough. Jing Chen slammed down the cup in his hand on the table. Do not bring up those unfounded speculations about Jing Xiao again. After driving out that flock of ceaselessly jabbering advisors, a tired Jing Chen rubbed the space between his eyebrows, took a brush and began to write a memorial for the emperor. Your Highness, Master Chen and the others were saying that for your own good. There's nothing wrong with paying them a little more attention. The second prince's princess consort, Lady Xiao, came in with a bowl of herbal tea to mitigate the heat and hesitated for a moment, but couldn't help speaking. What are you inserting yourself in court matters for? Jing Chen glanced at her and refused to discuss it any further. Lady Xiao would never be able to understand how much he treasured his brother. Jing Chen was tired of talking so much and didn't want to explain things anymore. He knew from experience that this woman was short-sighted, and wasn't able to understand many things no matter how he tried to explain them. But if even his own advisors doubted Jing Xiao, then there would certainly be people in the court who also doubted him. Jing Chen's brow wrinkled more deeply. This was a terrible situation no matter who was exactly responsible for it. To the culprits, if he died, that would be for the best. If he didn't die, the blame could be shifted to Jing Xiao. It didn't matter if it was to tarnish Jing Xiao's reputation as Prince Cheng or to cause conflict between brothers, the outcome would still be in the opponent's favor. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Trying to investigate the assassins further will only do you harm, Mu Hanzhong told Jing Xiao early in the morning as he helped him tie on the jade pendant on his court robes. Today, if someone targets you and tries to accuse you, you must scold him loudly and display your filial piety and fraternal duty. Don't try to refute them with any kind of evidence or proof. You won't be able to beat those officials in talking. Knowing that Jing Xiao had been suffering grievances in court these days, Mu Hanzhong was upset for him but could only urge him to restrain himself. I'm just so angry. I'm almost certain it was Jing Yu who did this. Are we just going to let him get away with this? Jing Xiao furiously retorted. His imperial father should be clear about this matter in his heart, but Jing Xiao was bitter at the current lack of evidence. After all, they couldn't do anything simply because he claimed Jingyu was the one behind it. Even if the fourth prince was the one who did it, killing one's brother is a big crime. If they dared to do it, then they must to be completely prepared. Mu Hanzhong sighed. If Big Brother wants to protect you, he will certainly write a memorial to ask Imperial Father not to investigate this matter further. You just need to remember not to be impulsive. Jing Shao walked out with discontent. He barely took 2 steps before he turned back, arms drooping, and buried his face in his wife's shoulder. I'm so vexed, I don't want to go today. Mu Hanzhong looked helplessly at the big fellow hanging onto his arm, raised his hand, and patted him. Don't be so willful and go quickly. Jing Shao groaned and wouldn't move. Seeing that it wasn't so early anymore, Mu Hanzhong was afraid that Jing Shao would be late, so he gently said, Yesterday, Jodage bought a pot of prawns. I'll go to the Ministry of War at noon to pick you up and we'll go to the Huawei restaurant for lunch. When Jing Shao heard these words, he immediately became more spirited. Then it's settled. I just need to go to the Ministry of War at Mao hour and I'll be able to leave by C hour. Mu Hanzhong watched his husband leave energetically. He smiled lightly and shook his head. How come this man was becoming more and more like a child? He had to use food to bribe him to go out and handle his proper affairs. At the morning court, the situation was as Mu Hanzhong had expected. Those officials who liked to talk in circles insinuated that Jing Shao was suspicious. Jing Chen was still recuperating from his wounds and wasn't present. The fourth prince kept his head down the entire time and didn't say a single word. Jing Shao listened to his prince consort's advice and didn't retort. Instead, he scolded the officials for their vicious thoughts and for looking down on familial relationships and filial piety. Emperor Hongzheng looked at Jing Shao, whose face and neck were red with anger. He didn't say a word and waited until Jing Shao was finished. Then, he spoke slowly. When the second prince was attacked by assassins, if it wasn't for the guards that Prince Cheng sent, risking their lives to protect him, everything would have ended in disaster. Thus, until Zhen is able to clearly investigate the matter, Zhen will not entertain any sort of assumptions. Do you think Zhen is a 3-year-old child? He then threw the memorial at the feet of the imperial censor standing below the jade steps. Imperial censor Fan Ji, who had just spoken, was the one who spoke of this assumption most vigorously. He was intimidated by the emperor's imposing tone and had to kneel down to pick up the memorial on the ground. That memorial was the one that the second prince had passed to the emperor yesterday. In it, he sincerely urged his imperial father not to investigate the matter for the time being because the one who would be suspected the most would be his own little brother. As an older brother, he truly wouldn't be able to bear that kind of situation. The second prince's heart is tolerant and kind. This time, he went to the southwest to investigate the matter of the tribute. His contributions cannot go unnoticed. He will be conferred the title of Prince Rui. Once Jing Chen recovers from his wounds, let the Minister of Rites pick an auspicious day. After looking his 2 sons in the eye, Emperor Hongzheng tossed his sleeves and left. His eyes were profound, the meaning in them unclear. Mu Hanzhong had breakfast and took Yunzu out with him. He first went to the Molian establishment. Although he was the one who opened the business, this kind of thing wasn't very pleasant to discuss, so it was made known to others that someone else owned the place and that Prince Consort Cheng only had a share in it. Since the store opened, business had been very prosperous. Some people in the capital could see that this business earned money, but no one dared to step into it. This was simply because the establishment bore the name of Prince Cheng's estate and the tyrannical Prince Cheng was known for being irrational. Brother Linear. Shortly after Mu Hanzhong entered the store, he saw a familiar figure come in. It was young Master Lin of the Marquis of Dingnan's household. The Marquis of Dingnan was the natal home of the second prince's princess consort. Due to this, the 2 of them were considered as relatives. Young Master Mu, when young Master Lin saw Mu Hanzhong here, He immediately felt a little embarrassed. The box you gifted last time, and I don't have the face to ask my servants to buy this, so I could only come early by myself. Young Master Lin's husband was the illegitimate son of the Marquis of Dingnan. The old Marquis still hadn't separated the household, so naturally, he wouldn't give this male wife any power, so it was inconvenient for young Master Lin to do anything. Mu Hanjiang immediately understood his difficulties. He turned his head to look at the display in the shop. The common people didn't pay much attention if men came to buy the items, they wouldn't be able to tell if they were the husband or the wife, so it didn't matter. However, for male wives in noble families, there was definitely a lot of inconvenience. The cheapest iron boxes in the store sold the most, and the most expensive silver boxes could also be sold to those hedonistic sons of rich parents who wished to please beauties. Meanwhile, the perfumes bomb in wooden boxes weren't selling as well as Mu Hanjiang thought they would. Mu Hanjiang considered this, and the cogs in his brain began to turn. Every month, the Imperial Household Department would set aside a quantity for each household and send it over. So, for his customers who still needed the product but were inconvenienced, he could have them in advance and he would have the products delivered afterwards. If it is inconvenient for Brother Lin, just let me know how much you need. At the beginning of each month, I'll send someone with a sealed packet to your residence. You can just say that it's something I sent you. When Mu Hanjiang came to this solution, his mind became active again. Every month, the household office of the Imperial Palace would deliver the ample stipend on time. He could thus make the households of the princes that were inconvenienced and sorely in need of this item to pay money at a set time, and he would then send the products to them every month. This will definitely solve my problem. Young Master Lin was very happy with this arrangement and immediately paid in advance. Mu Hanjiang left the Emolian establishment, saw that it was still early, and walked to the Ministry of War's office. Once he arrived in front of the door at exactly C hour, he saw a figure punctually crossing the threshold. Your Highness, we haven't settled the matter yet. Why are you leaving already? Minister soon came out holding a book and helplessly chased after him. Just make the decision yourself, this prince have something urgent to do. I'll talk to you about it later. Jing Shao waved his hand impatiently at him. When he looked up, he saw his prince consort was standing outside the door, wearing a light blue outer robe. The sight was so attractive that Jing Shao couldn't help but draw back the corners of his mouth and rushed towards him. End chapter. The Wife is First. Volume 1, Planning Ahead. Chapter 36, Withdrawal of the Vassal States. Minister soon looked on helplessly as Prince Cheng ran to Prince Consort Cheng and exclaimed excitedly, Jun Qing, let's go eat shrimp. If we go too late, it'll sell out. Was this the so-called urgent matter? There were rumors that Prince Cheng was cruel, harsh, and ruthless, so why would he reveal such an expression of smiling so wide as if he was a flower? Mu Hanjiang saw the white-bearded Minister of War awkwardly standing in front of the door and greeted him apologetically. His Highness was in a hurry this morning and wasn't able to eat, apologies for troubling the Honorable Minister. Your Highness Prince Consort Cheng need not stand on ceremonies. Only then did Minister soon snap out of it, and he politely saluted Prince Consort Cheng. He was used to Prince Cheng leaving exactly at Mao hour anyways. Mu Hanjiang smiled and took His Highness out to eat. It was still early, that there were basically no guests inside Huawei restaurant yet. However, shopkeeper Zhou, who opened the restaurant early every day, had already cleaned up the place and was preparing all the ingredients. Jing Shao asked for a private room overlooking the street on the second floor. The crabs aren't fat enough yet at this time of the year, but you can come back and eat them in the 9th month. Because there wasn't much business at the moment, Zhou Jin, whose clothes were all in pink, personally came over to take their order. The two weren't surprised by Zhou Jin's clothes at all. 1 caddy of shrimp poached in salt water, 1 caddy of salt-baked shrimp, 2 caddies of Huawei shrimp, 1 bottle of Shaoxing yellow wine and 2 bowls of rice. Jing Shao looked at the menu and ordered. All of the dishes with the words Hui Wei were the signature dishes of Hui Wei restaurant. Because it wasn't possible to get hold of fresh shrimp all the time, they were rarely able to eat this dish. When eating saltwater shrimp, you shouldn't drink strong alcohol. I'll send up a pot of tea instead, Zhou Jin reminded Jing Xiao. Jing Xiao frowned. It felt like there was a little something missing if there wasn't any wine to drink while eating something delicious. When Mu Hanjiang saw this, he summoned Jing Xiao's young manservant Yun Song to buy a bottle of green plum wine from the Green Plum Maiden in the south of the city. Mild wine can wash off the shrimp's strong flavor. Perhaps it would be good if Brother Joe also bought some mild wine. It would definitely sell well. That's a good idea, Zhou Jin said happily when he heard this. Where is that green plum wine shop you're talking about? Mu Hanjiang told him the location. Even Zhou Jin, who ran a restaurant like this, didn't know about that green plum wine shop. It seemed that Maiden May's business truly wasn't doing that good. Since Jing Xiao intended to take care of this green plum maiden for his brother Wang who died in battle, it was much more useful to find a way for her to do business rather than to just buy her wine regularly. Jun Qing, you are really good at business. Jing Xiao peeled a poached shrimp and put it in the other man's bowl. Mu Hanjiang picked up the shrimp with his chopsticks and dipped it in sauce before taking a bite. He smiled lightly and said, "When I was a child, I heard that the descendants of noble families were seldom able to attain scholarly honors in the imperial exam. Even if they did, it wasn't easy to become a court official. Thus, I secretly learned some business skills from Yunyang. I thought that if I couldn't be an official, then I could instead take over our family's businesses. Normally, nobles do not strive to achieve scholarly honors through the imperial exam. If they wanted to become officials, they either relied on the emperor's benevolence or on their family's connections to the imperial family. For others who managed to study and test with good results, they were often pushed aside by others, and it was hard to obtain promotions." Mu Hanjiang spoke in a relaxed manner, but Jing Xiao could hear the hardships contained in these few sentences. Dukes, marquises, earls, all of them focused on becoming military leaders. A son who couldn't practice martial arts would naturally be looked down upon by the family, not to mention that Mu Hanjiang was a concubine's son. Thinking of this, Jing Xiao recalled Mu Lingbao. Unfortunately, the weather was getting hotter. It would be another few months before Mu Lingbao could be thrown into an icy river. The shrimp was deep-fried all the way through, so it's tasty even if eaten with the shell. Mu Hanjiang put a shrimp in Jing Xiao's bowl. "After we've finished our meal, let's go to second elder brother's house and have a look. I've prepared all the gifts. I'll have Yunzu go back to get them." Now that Jing Xiao had stressed the importance of filial piety in court today, it wouldn't be suspicious anymore should he pay a visit to his injured brother. Even if one didn't believe what those villains were instigating, there was a saying that if a lie was repeated often enough, it would become true. It was still better for the two brothers to visit each other frequently. Jing Xiao also planned to go to the second prince's estate today to tell his brother the good news that their imperial father was conferring the title of Prince Rui upon him. Every time he visited, he went empty-handed but would always leave with something good from his brother. Only now did Jing Xiao realize that he should be bringing gifts whenever he came over to his brother's house. When they arrived, Jing Chen was discussing things with several advisors in his study. Hearing that Jing Xiao had come, he let him in directly. There were 3 people in the room, none of whom Jing Xiao had seen often. Mu Hanjiang stood beside him, quietly observing the expressions of these people, then he lowered his eyes. The 3 advisors seemed very nervous about their sudden arrival. One of them had even revealed an obvious hint of hostility. "That will be it for today." Jing Chen frowned a little and waved the 3 out. Jing Chen took a glance at Mu Hanjiang. Jing Xiao signaled with his gaze that he didn't need to hide anything. Jing Chen broke the eye contact and said in a deep voice, "You did a good job in court today." Mu Hanjiang was slightly surprised. He had planned to leave first, but unexpectedly, the two brothers started discussing court affairs right in front of him. Doing this showed that the two brothers really regarded him as trustworthy, as if he were one of them and helping them scheme to win the throne. He turned his head and glanced at Jing Shao. The other gave him a nonchalant look. In the current situation, the Southwest King has angered Imperial Father. Withdrawing the vassal states will happen sooner or later, but you can't mention this matter. I'll let the rest of the court bring it up first. I'll return to court after a couple of days and then submit a statute to Imperial Father again. Jing Chen showed Jing Shao a stack of folded paper. Will this method work? Jing Shao looked through it for a long time. Generally speaking, this method of withdrawing the vassal states without mobilizing the troop was very complicated. In his past life, he had been in Yunnan Tibet. Thus, he didn't know if anyone had suggested a peaceful withdrawal of the vassal territories. However, given the Southwest King's character, perhaps a battle shouldn't be fought. Brother-in-law, have a look. Jing Chen beckoned Jing Shao to give it to Mu Hanjiang. Brother can just call me Hanjiang. Mu Hanjiang took the statute, read it quickly and thought for a moment. If the vassal king's forces aren't strong, then this plan is feasible. Jing Chen nodded slightly and looked at Jing Shao. If a war is unavoidable, do you want to go? I'll go. Jing Shao said resolutely. This is a good chance to obtain military powers. If it drags on for a few years, then one can gain control over at least half of it. If war was declared on the three vassal states, he wasn't sure how many years the battle would take. Even if Jing Shao knew each of the vassal king's weak points, he didn't plan to finish the fight immediately. He wouldn't repeat the mistakes he made in his last life. He would only dispose of the vassal kings once they had served their purpose. Mu Hanjiang listened to the dialogue between the two brothers, and his gaze shuddered as he kept silent. If there was a war, Jing Shao wouldn't return home for many years, right? Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The next day, a news came that the eldest prince had finally been rescued by the reinforcement troops from Shu province. Fortunately, he hadn't died and was now temporarily resting in Yunnan Tibet. As for the king of the southwest, his troops didn't move as fast as the troops from Shu. This action completely infuriated Emperor Hongzheng. Many ministers took the opportunity to propose to take back the vassal territories. After a few days of such debate, when Jing Chen returned to court, he directly submitted his statute on withdrawing the vassal territories. Jing Chen proposed to demote the vassal kings, which meant that the current feudal kings would still rule the feudal territory, but in the next generation, their rank would be reduced to dukes of the state, and the generation after that would be demoted to marquises. Emperor Hongzheng thought that this method was feasible but didn't reveal his thoughts out front. Only when the ministers mentioned it again did he agree to withdraw the vassal states. Thereafter, the matter of Yunnan Tibet was put on hold, and the matter of withdrawing the vassals became the main agenda. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. On the 6th month, Qiu Yuniang was promoted to secondary consort, and the Marquis of Beiwei invited Jing Shao and Mu Hanjiang to the ceremony. Some days ago, Yuniang had people send word which stated that she wants me to go see her after today's ceremony. Sitting in the carriage, Mu Hanjiang thought of the letter that his mother had sent to the Molian establishment. Then she must have something personal to tell you. Jing Shao chuckled. Just go, I'll wait for you in the front hall. The ceremony for promotion of the secondary wife wasn't complicated. It was mainly to change the concubine contract to that of a marriage contract, followed by a bow and a sacrificial offering to the ancestors. After becoming the secondary consort, Lady Qiu moved into a small courtyard befitting her new status. The rooms were more spacious and the place had a small kitchen of its own. Mu Hanjiang looked at his mother in her splendid pink clothes. Although she was already getting on in years, she was still as elegant and graceful as ever, embodying the wit and gentleness of the maidens from Jiangnan. Mother. For the first time, Mu Hanjiang could address her like this in front of others. Lady Qiu's eyes moistened at this one word. Son, my son, Lady Qiu took her son's hand as her tears fell like stray pearls from a broken necklace. For 20 years, she had dared not call him son. He was a young master and she was just a lowly concubine. If she ran into him in the past, she had to salute him as a young master. Seeing this situation, the maidservants in the room retreated one after another. "Mother, why were you looking for me?" Mu Hanzhong took the handkerchief from his mother's hand and wiped her tears. Lady Qiu took the handkerchief from her son, wiped the tears on her face, and sighed, "In the inner courtyard, my imagination cannot help but run wild. There's a matter I've been thinking about for a long time, and I think I should tell you about it." Mu Hanzhong listened quietly to his mother's worries and couldn't help but smile. "Don't worry, mother. He wasn't interested in getting the throne. Who doesn't want to take that seat?" Lady Qiu frowned and saw that Mu Hanzhong seemed to believe in Jing Shao very much. Even if he didn't have that intention before, he is an imperial prince but has no offspring to inherit his title. How can he be willing? Besides, he is still so young and there will be many opportunities for him to go to battle in the future. Regarding the other points, Mu Hanzhong didn't take them to heart, but the last one resonated strongly with him. Recalling what he had heard in the second prince's estate that day, Jing Shao wanted to use that expedition to obtain military power. The 3 vassal kings weren't easy to deal with. It would take at least 3 to 5 years before he could return to the capital once he left. Did that mean that he would have to wait for him in the prince's residence, withering away in the meantime? End chapter.